So, 2014's Gravity. The Russians use a ballistic missile to shoot a defunct satellite out of the sky. It creates a bunch of debris, slams into the ISS, kills George Clooney, and chases the protagonist around low Earth orbit. This is really just a pretty decent cinematic exaggeration of what is known as Kessler syndrome. Kessler syndrome, as outlined by Donald Kessler in 1978, pretty much states that objects in orbit will begin to collide into one another, creating pieces of debris which will collide into other objects, creating more debris until there's a web of debris around our planet that makes spaceflight impossible. Though the actual instigating event was a little less cinematic, however, it still has repercussions that are very much relevant. In 2009, a defunct Soviet satellite, Cosmos 2251, and a communication satellite, Iridium 33, collided, creating over 1,000 pieces of debris that were larger in size than 10 cubic centimeters, and many more that were smaller than that. Now, when you start to talk about space debris, it's hard to think of scale. It is believed that there's over 128 million pieces of debris in our orbit. However, the only ones that we can track are those larger than 1 cubic centimeter. And there are only around 1 million pieces. Now, it doesn't sound like pieces that are smaller than a centimeter, typically smaller than a pinky nail, would be an issue. However, when you combine with the fact that in order to stay in orbit, these objects are moving at 17,000 miles an hour, it starts to become a real issue. To put this in perspective, an object as small as 3 millimeters in diameter, so about the size of a pea, about the size of your pinky nail, can generate up to 2,000 joules of force, and this is the equivalent to a shot from a shotgun. As far as prevention methods for space junk, there isn't much in place. The only real protected zone of space is geosynchronous orbit. Since this orbit is in such a specific place, only a certain amount of satellites can be in those places at a given time, so defunct satellites are pushed out into a further graveyard orbit. As far as cleanup methods go, there's not much in place. In 2007, the Chinese government attempted to shoot a defunct satellite out of orbit using a ballistic missile, which only created more debris. There have been several university projects, such as the University of Surrey's Collect Debris, to try to round up debris using a harpoon. But it's really hard to come up with one solution because the debris is so varied in size, shape, and material. Now, with companies intent on satellite internet and the government intent on moon colonization and Mars missions, space debris is more relevant than ever. Engineering got us to space in the 20th century, and it's up to the engineers of the 21st century to keep us there by maintaining space debris in lower Earth orbit. Thank you so much for watching.